My name is Martin Perry. I have congenital limb loss and deformity, which means that my right arm stops below the wrist, my left arm stops through the elbow joint, and my left leg stops through the knee joint. So I only have one complete limb, which is my right leg. And I have played sport my entire life with my family growing up, then recreationally in high school before being put on a pathway into para table tennis, and then progressed through all the ranks up until now representing Great Britain. I discovered sport very naturally at home. I'm the youngest of four brothers, so having three older brothers, they were just there to torment me, and that involved playing sport together and just having fun growing up as a child. So that was my initial discovery of sport. But when I obviously wanted to pursue it as a career, I knew I had to, do a bit of research and do a bit of digging, and I came across a para football team in the local area. I found out very shortly that the pathway for me there was very restricted due to the fact that I couldn't represent Scotland or Great Britain, having at the time, not had cerebral palsy or a brain injury or stroke. So therefore, I was a bit deflated and wanted to seek out other sports. It was then that I was invited onto a Scottish Disability Sport residential summer camp, where I was able to try a whole number of sports that allowed me to, find one, a passion, and two, hopefully a pathway that I could progress to the top level, and that happened to be table tennis for me. My pathway in table tennis began at Inverclyde with the Scottish Disability Sport Summer Camp. I played there for the first time ever. I'd never even heard of the sport, and I happened to play there for the first time where there was representatives from Drumchapel Table Tennis Club in Glasgow. I was then invited along to Drumchapel Table Tennis Club, and from there I attended twice a week, just having fun, making new friends, and it became a hobby, and that hobby soon turned into a passion. I was then inspired by the London 2012 Paralympic Games, where I was there witnessing Paralympics GB win 2 medals on the day that I attended, and that was completely inspiring for me. So from then I came home and I wanted to put more time and effort into table tennis, and within about 18 months I managed to represent Scotland. And from then I was put onto the GB development programme, then what we call the pathway programme, and then now on the performance programme. So I've been through every step of the pathway ladder, representing obviously locally my club into Scotland, and then into the 3 tiers of the British Para Table Tennis Performance Squad. So for me it's been a long journey. I think I started playing table tennis around 12 years ago, and it's finally coming to fruition now that I'm able to compete at the top level and represent Great Britain. My most recent success came in November of 2022, where I was at the World Championships and I came home with a bronze medal, and for me that meant the absolute world. It was an incredible feeling. It was just sheer elation finally winning that point that secured a bronze medal. I remember leaning back and screaming my head off, and I actually recall my legs felt like they'd turned to jelly. I could barely stand because I was so full of emotion, because it's been such a roller coaster of not being on funding to being on funding, narrowly missing out on Tokyo, narrowly missing out on the World Championships, and actually I was there because I was awarded a wild card. So to be there was incredibly fortunate, but then once I was there, I was able to prove myself on the world stage, and I came home with that bronze medal. So that meant absolutely everything to me, because it's been such a roller coaster these last few years, trying to qualify for events and things get postponed and pushed back, and then when you narrowly miss out, it's heartbreaking. So now coming home with that bronze medal, it was just sheer elation, and I'm in a good position now to hopefully go on and qualify for Paris 2024. So in the beginning, my support structure was just the local coach at Drumchapel Table Tennis Club, Terry McLernan. He supported me to no end, made sure I got as much training as I needed or wanted. But then when things started to obviously get more serious and turn professional, I went into a setup where I now had access to physiotherapists, sports psychologists, nutritionists, lifestyle managers, and that was very eye-opening to me, because I had no idea how to tap into these resources. I just thought I had to turn up and train hard and things would fall into place, but actually as my game developed and as I developed as a person, I had to tap into these resources massively, because when your training and competition schedule massively ramps up, the body starts to break down, it plays its toll on the mind as well. So for me personally, I tap into the physiotherapy and psychology a lot, just because I want to be performing at the best that I can, and in order to do that, I need that team around me that can support me. When we train under the umbrella of British Para Table Tennis, we have coaches involved in everything, and they will listen to the practitioners, whether that be physiotherapists, psychologists, nutritionalists, lifestyle manager, whoever it may be. The coach and the practitioner are always in liaison, because ultimately it's not just about what happens on the table. You know, you've got to have the understanding that it's a person as a whole and not just an athlete. So the coaches are massively involved with the practitioner's help, and vice versa, because ultimately if I'm carrying an injury or I'm trying to rehab something, I can't just run straight back into training. There's got to be a bedding in process, something that comes from, for example, the physiotherapist, that they will prescribe a method of getting back into training so that I can be at the highest level quicker, as opposed to just going straight back into it. I couldn't pick one practitioner in order to single them out and say that they have ultimately made me a better athlete, because every practitioner I've came across has played a massive part in that. We have worked with multiple physiotherapists, multiple sports psychologists, video analysis, lifestyle managers, and when you are under that umbrella of the Institute, you are the best of the best. And to pinpoint one person would be a disservice to everyone else that's worked as a team, because everyone understands that you're there to improve the team as a whole and to improve the athlete and person as a whole, and we all feed off each other. So in order to choose one, it wouldn't be fair to everyone else, because everyone is a team. It can be overwhelming as an athlete at times, but I think that's where communication is key. You know, ultimately the practitioners and the coaches, they understand that we are there to perform, and if things aren't going right or things aren't feeling quite right, we have to communicate that, and you know, we sit down and we have open and honest conversations in order to get the results that we want. So even when it does get overwhelming at times, having that open and clear conversation really does help, and it puts you at ease. My first port of call for going over any issues would be my head coach. That could then progress into the performance director, and we also have a head of performance sport. But ultimately, I would feel comfortable going to any member of staff with any problem that I may have, and I feel like we as a team have that ability to have open, honest and harsh conversations, because ultimately we're there to perform, and you've got to be able to communicate in order to do so. I think there's a whole host of skills that you have to obviously tap into, communication being the number one for me, because if you're not having clear, open communication, then things will break down and frustrations will set in. But going alongside that, you have to have the ability to adapt, especially when working with para-athletes. You know, disabilities can change, obviously treatments may have to be altered due to the nature of the disability, and also just being able to think on your feet. It's a massive skill that, you know, you're going to be under a lot of pressure. It's high performance sport, but if you're able to communicate, think on your feet and be quick to adapt, you'll be in a great position. The one piece of advice I can give to a practitioner that's gone from able-bodied into para is you have to be open to the humour. You will hear relentless, almost abuse towards each other amongst the athletes, having a go at each other about their disabilities and things like that, and you have to just disregard everything, take it with a pinch of salt, because for some people it's a coping mechanism, for others it's just a way to have good fun and have a laugh, and that will often be the test, is how well the practitioner can fit in amongst the squad. And para athletes, they come with a lot of baggage, so yeah, you better get used to it.